my era, this sort of music, isn't it? Welcome back. Seven minutes past. I was really sort of starting to boogie. Wellington Mayor Tory Whanau in the studio. Good morning. Welcome. I'll turn your mic on. Oh, it might make a difference.
There we go. Good morning.
Already got a text saying it sounds better with the mic off. No.
Excuse me.
I have. Right. How are you?
I'm really good.
I hear you went to a really good function that Ethan was attendee at as well.
Yeah, it was a Wellington on a Plate event. It was Hākari Fusion at Government House. So the Governor General and Wellington on a Plate hosted like just a wonderful hangi. They actually had a hangi pit at the residence, and it included like 180 people who entered a ballot. And it was like just like a lot of. It was really cool. Just a really good buzz.
And Ethan happens to get. He
won one of the ballots.
I reckon it was me, but he just put it in, took his note, changed it over.
Yeah,
I reckon
possibly. He probably did.
I reckon that's exactly what happened. I reckon I won it because I entered and I didn't make it, didn't get through.
So I entered too.
Did you?
So
yeah, no,
No. It's quite a funny story. So I saw it and I was like, oh yes, I'm definitely going to that. And I entered, and I was apparently one of the first 100 people out of 4,000 people who entered for. Plus one, sort of thing. But then the organiser were like, Tory, you're getting an invite? Like, calm down. I was like,
well, you still could have left it in, and if you won it, you could have given it to someone. Anyway, right, let's start.
Like that, yeah.
Let's get started.
Yes.
Let's get this party started. The sale of the council's stake in Wellington Airport passed with a majority of councillors in favour earlier this year, but support seems to have collapsed and there's no longer a majority. It goes to another vote in December, but many councillors saying, kill it now and save the $9 million in staff costs that are still going on. To your actual knowledge, do you have the majority in favour of the sale?
I believe I still have the majority by maybe one vote, but those who do not support it are very vocal in their opposition. I don't know what the notice of motion or the request says. Apparently there is one floating around, and we'll just have to take a look at it when it comes in.
Can I tell you that a prominent Wellington City councillor named, because my sources can't be revealed, said that the numbers are 9 against 16. Now, that's telling you that you haven't got a majority.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if that's accurate or not. It might be true, might be not, but we'll have to see. Surely
that we are in tough financial times right now, right? Mm-hmm. So surely you could go around the council table and say, okay, how are you going to vote in December? Is that locked in and solid and gold? Then we could save the money, the $9 million apparently that we're going to spend on staff costs. Wouldn't that be a sensible thing to do, knowing that you're going to waste good money after bad number if you don't have the numbers?
So, I mean, where it stands at the moment is that our long-term plan has gone through and it's met its legislative requirements based on the airport sale being part of that. So to just stop it now, that will have some repercussions. So
can it be stopped? You think it can legally be stopped?
Technically, yeah, no, it can, and it'll be up to the council will take a look at it and see. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, what it means is that if the airport sale doesn't go through, it leaves Wellington City uninsured in the event of a disaster, and we don't diversify our investments. So we can either live with having no insurance, which means if our city is
there must be another way of getting the insurance.
Yep,
I mean, I don't want people to believe that it's either sale of the airport or we're not insured.
So it's sale of the airport or cut our capital program by about $400 million. So that would likely be the next step. If we don't support the sale, we'd have to cut basically everything else. It has to come from somewhere.
But that money is supposedly going into this green fund somewhere offshore, so you can't use that money.
Yes, no, which means that if there's a disaster, we can absolutely access it in the event of a disaster, whereas you can't if it's tied up in a building.
So why is there going to be this other next vote then?
I don't know. You have to ask them. It's kind of this is us, being financially prudent. There was a proposal from one of them that came to us and said, please keep the airport and we'll just need to increase rates by 2%. I couldn't do that. There's just no way I could do that.
But you could cut your cloth to fit. Now, if that vote does go against it, what does that mean? The whole 10-year plan's out the door and you start all again?
Yes, yeah. We'd have to go back out to consultation. It's likely an observer might have to come in and watch the process.
So my question has to be, Why don't you check the numbers and go through that process now rather than wait till December and spend all that money?
We check it every week. People flip-flop. That's the problem. So there's also, I mean, I genuinely believe there are a couple of councillors who don't want this airport to be sold. That's fine. But the rest, it's politics. It's theatre. It gets the headlines. And what can I say?
Could you put your hand on your heart and say you think it's still going to go through? That's a no.
I think it's going to. No, it's not. Don't put words in my mouth.
Well, I can tell you.
I'm going, it's going to be really difficult. So just like the LTP, we had to do, it takes a lot of political
It's a simple, I'm sorry, Tory, but this is a simple yes or no answer.
This is not a yes or no answer.
No, my question is really, really simple. Do you believe it's going to go through? That's all. Yes or no?
No, it's not.
It is a yes or no.
It is not a yes or no.
It is. You either think it's going to go through or you don't think.
So it's been yes up until this point. We have councillors who are changing their mind. You'd have to ask them. If they want to be irresponsible
I'm not asking
with our
them,
finances,
I'm asking you.
That's on them. I don't understand why you don't interrogate them as much as you interrogate me. I'm thinking of the financial health of the city.
For a start, I don't believe I'm interrogating. I believe I'm asking you questions.
And I've given you an answer.
No, you haven't given me an answer.
You won't seem to accept it.
You have not given me an answer whether you believe.
I said, I don't know because people keep changing their minds.
Okay. All right, let's move on. So we have to sit there as people paying their rates till December to find out what's going on. Is that what you're saying? And another $9 million worth of cost.
And cutting $400 million from our CapEx program or increasing their rates another few percent. I don't want either of those things. You'd have to ask the other councillors who don't want this to sell why they want that to happen.
Okay,
certainly
fair
not me.
Comment, and I take that on board, and that's a fair comment. Why can't you say to me that, well, maybe we can cut our cloth to fit and we could cut half of that money off our expenditure?
Because we've cut a lot from the budget already. So we cut $200 million from the City to Sea Bridge project. We've cut $80 million from our cycleways, $5 million from internal staffing and consultants. It's already really tight.
You've got the people of Wadestown not wanting that. Clearly not wanting the cycleway from Wadestown. Surely you could cut that as well.
But you have plenty of people who do want it. And actually, cycleways make up less than 2% of the rates. What's making up the rates are things like water reform and our big transport projects.
Well, now that's been sorted out by the government.
It actually hasn't been sorted out.
You don't like the new deal from the government?
Because we don't know what it looks like yet from a legislative perspective. So while we're working on a regional CCO model, that's probably not going to take place for another couple of years. Okay. So we still have to pay for our pipes, $1.8 billion.
Okay, well, we will talk about water later.
That makes up 30% of our water, of our rates.
I want to move on to Thorndon Quay.
Yep.
I want to keep our attention. There's been something that everyone keeps talking about. I was down there on Saturday dropping off a light at my local lighting shop down there, and my great man, Martin, who looks after us down there, he wanted to give me a hug. He was that pleased that I was making people aware that there's a problem down there. He's running a business down there, and you've cut now the speed humps from 6 to 2 or 5 to 2, whatever the numbers are.
Yep.
Because basically Fire and Emergency New Zealand made it public that there was a problem. Where's everything sitting with Thorndon right now?
So the transport project itself, which does prioritise dedicated bus lanes, pedestrian safety and cycleways, it's about halfway through. The speed bumps itself was kind of a separate decision, but that has been reduced to two with two high traffic areas. So outside the kids and co, because of course parents and kids, they should have that safety raised, as well as the Pipitia Marae, which gets a lot of foot traffic as well.
When are all these works going to be completed, and is the council actually doing anything to help the businesses down there?
They're working directly with the businesses and, utilising Wellington NZ, trying to increase marketing to get more people down there. But it's about halfway through. It'll be finished in about a year.
The council, did they properly consult on this? I mean, the courts are saying no about another issue, but it's basically Thorndon as well. Courts have said you didn't consult. Do you reckon that you've done a good enough job in consulting with those people?
So we know that when the project was with Let's Get Wellington Moving, consultation wasn't great. So we've started to meet with the businesses directly now, take them through the project, take on feedback where possible. So our transport team have been meeting with them ongoing. I've met with them. I met with Paul Robertson and took a look down there. I've been in touch with the Kids & Co. Owner as well. It is, I know, they are really frustrated, and I know that.
Do you reckon that the Thorndon Quay thing, and this is me speaking here, do you think that the whole issue with Thorndon Quay could be your Celia Wade Brown moment of Island Bay? It could be the thing that people most remember you by, a complete cock-up of a setup.
No, I don't. Because, well, I mean,
we're still worrying about Island Bay now, 10 years later, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, you know, transport projects are always this hard, are always this disruptive. But once it's completed, I'm really confident that people will see it for what it is.
Take a short break and be back with Wellington Mayor Tory Whanau. Wellington Mornings with Tory Whanau, Wellington Mayor in the studio. Quick one here, and I just want to put my hand up because I'm not involved in this in any way and know nothing about it apart from being told from being on this radio station. A consortium of Courtenay Place business owners have come together and are trying to seek council approval to host a New Year's Eve party. Tory, when you were standing, I remember we did one of the first interviews with you at Newstalk ZB Wellington Mornings, and you said you were all about revitalising the city centre. Surely you'd be jumping at this idea to close Courtenay Place off and have a giant party on New Year's Eve.
Oh, I absolutely am. Oh.
Sorry.
Is it working now?
No, it is working. Sorry, that was my fault.
No. I'm hugely supportive of this. So last week we actually signed off some other road closures, like in Newtown and so forth, to allow for other street parties outside of the usual Newtown festival. I think we need more of that stuff. It brings the community together, and when it's properly resourced, it means you can keep the event vibrant, safe, a little bit family friendly, and ensure that the local businesses have the support that they need. So I'm very supportive of this.
So right here, right now, you're saying, yes, it's going to go ahead.
I haven't even seen the proposal yet, so
okay.
I don't know.
Has it not got that far?
No,
okay.
It hasn't got that far yet. So I've seen
what
it in the
actually
media.
stands in their way? Do you know?
Probably, I would say, I'm assuming consent for the closure needs to come to regs, which will be, I think, in about 3 weeks' time. And so I know I'll be advocating for it.
Okay. Serious matter, not that New Year's Eve thing's not serious. Council Chief Executive Barbara McKerrow said she's not seeking another term. Firstly, your own personal thoughts. Has Barbara McKerrow been good for Wellington City?
I think she has, absolutely. She's actually, you have these kind of negative people saying things, and that has been totally unfortunate and unfair. I was looking at my book, my phone. I wasn't looking at you. But actually, she is an incredible CEO, and if you were to talk to anyone else in the local government world, they would say the same. She's in demand. I know she's already been approached for a couple of other CE roles in this area, and her staff have loved her. So
why is she leaving?
Well, she's at the end of her term, so it has to be.
Would she have got in if she went for it again?
Yes, I believe she would have. Absolutely, she would have.
Would she have the numbers on council to get back in?
I think so.
Do you really think so?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Why has she not been up front and sort of talked to the media and done, her bit as the CE? I mean, why hasn't she spoken to us and other media?
Well, I suppose it's more typical for the mayor and the politicians to front up to media. It's not really that usual for staff to. I mean, you don't really hear from Auckland City Council's CE or any other CE. It's generally a backroom role.
So do you think she will before she leaves?
Probably, that's up to her. I don't think she's obligated to.
Okay.
That's up to her. And to be fair, you guys aren't very nice. I wouldn't.
Wow.
I'm the mayor. I'm fair game. But if I may, the media kind of sentiment in this year has just been so negative. I wouldn't want to put her in front of media.
Gosh, I feel a little bit personally affronted by that. Always thought myself as a nice guy.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Wellington Water. No, let's not move on to Wellington Water because I actually want to spend some time with that. Poneke Promise.
Yep.
It was revealed earlier this month that Poneke Promise, the council's plan to reduce sexual and violent harm in the city, has spent most of its money on a new $2 million architecturally designed toilet block and another $5 million removing car parks to install outdoor seating, amongst other improvement. I mean, some of that to me just doesn't sing out reducing harm.
So how this works, so we worked with an organisation called, the Let Us Live Rally. They were the ones who really called for an improvement in safety. Their three main asks, so this came from them, was urban design developments, because it's been shown, worldwide evidence shows that redesigning your space improves kind of safety in the area. Funding for organisations like Take 10 for it to go through, and to prevent sexual violence, and working with our hospitality to improve training to deal with, unsavoury behaviour. That's exactly what has happened, and that has been the request.
Seems to me from an outsider looking in that you spent a hell of a lot of money on improvements that make the city better, but really does that make a young person walking down Wellington streets at night feel any safer, which is what Poneke Promise was set out to design?
So for a lot of people, yes. So when you redesign your area and make it safe, make it vibrant, you increase foot traffic, more people want to go there, therefore you feel safer, and there's the behaviour does decrease a bit. So what has happened is that there's been a bit of a gap since that happened, and now it's time to really ramp up the work again.
You spent $1.4 million on a community centre on Manor Street, which I walk past quite often. I think the maximum I've seen is 2 people in there. It's basically a drop-in centre. Has that worked?
Yeah. So another request that we've had, and actually we're going to open one up on Thursday morning, is that a lot of youth, a lot of students who only really have their hostels or dingy flats to hang out with, kind of wanted some spaces where they could just go and hang. So it's been... It provides the feeling of knowing that there's a safe space there if you need help, almost like Take 10 as well on a big night out. Make no mistake, there's still a lot more work to do. It's still a problem, but it has improved a bit.
I just don't see how putting a boardwalk down Dixon Street and putting those booths for tables to sit outside with a cost of $5 million in a very, very expensive loo is what the Poneke Promise was really all about.
So for the third time, I'm going to tell you that urban design is incredibly useful for making an area safer. That's exactly what has happened.
I thought the Poneke Promise was to actually help people feel safer in the city.
And like I keep telling you, urban design makes people feel safer. That has been proven worldwide, and that is exactly what this rally group asked for. And as a result, we're seeing many more people dine outside, many more people visit these cafes. The swimsuit cafe is incredibly popular, and that in itself, the foot traffic alone, makes people feel safer.
Well, it's interesting because he was on this very show sitting on your very seat saying that it hasn't made any difference to his business at all.
Well, we're talking about safety, not business.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. 28 minutes past 10, take a short break. Tory Whanau, Wellington Mayor, in the studio with me. Just got a text in, Tory, asking your opinion on the proposal to look at compulsory buyback at Johnsonville Mall.
Yes.
You like the idea of that?
I do. So right. I've been, basically supporting Councillor McNulty, but also Councillor Panovich and Councillor Randall to try and take that further, because Johnsonville needs that work, and to be able to develop that mall area would just be game changing.
Okay. Now, I was privy to a little bit of information over the weekend. I know what's going on in my city, right? Our city. I know what's happening.
Yeah, but sometimes you get...
No, I don't get it wrong, and I haven't got the social housing wrong. Don't start me with the social housing, because I get...
You're one of 2 people.
I am not one of 2 people in the text.
You're one of 2 people that has told me...
That is absolute, maybe told you because they're too scared of you. But they'll tell me in the street, Nick, you're right.
Scared of me.
We should sell the damn council's housing.
That's not what consultation told us.
All right, well, your consultation's wrong. It also told you that you didn't need to put the lights on Common Drive, but you put them on.
But you're right because of your opinion.
I have more people listening to me that actually respond to the council, but there you go. A little birdie told me that a huge business deal is going down at the eastern suburbs. Do you know about it? Like someone's just bought a massive block of land, and that's pretty well known to Wellington, and it's not Shelley Bay. Have you heard that?
I know things, but it's not...
Do you know that?
I do know that.
You have heard that?
I have heard that.
Do you know what's going in there?
I'm not telling.
Oh, so you do know.
It's not my place to say.
But you know. And
I do know.
We're announcing it first here on Wellington Mornings that probably, I would say, and I'm not the business correspondent, I'm the talkback host, but the biggest property deal to go down in Wellington for a number of years, maybe many years, is going down, and you know about it, and I know about it, but the people of Wellington don't know about it.
Because it's not finalised.
Do you know what's going in there?
Yes.
Is it a certain...
I'm not saying anything.
Why not?
Why should I? You're not entitled to this information.
I am entitled
No,
to
you're
it.
not.
The people are entitled
This
to
is
it.
This is not council's deal. It's not your deal. It's just our deal.
The people of Wellington have this radio station, and they are entitled to know what's going on there. If it's the major deal,
not
one of
from
the
me.
biggest deals.
It's not for me to say.
And it's got nothing to do with Wellington Airport, is my source right?
No.
You think it has got something to do
No,
with
no,
it?
no, no. I don't want to answer your questions about this because this is not my deal.
It's our deal. It's all of our deal. If
If you say so.
you don't think it is?
I don't know. You're speaking in,
Garbage.
vagueness and
Well-
whatever. The point is, there's something happening. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't have to.
Just remember that you heard it first on the show. Something is going to be announced.
Oh, that was disastrous.
No, it's not disastrous. It's a big deal. It's a major deal in our city, and we want to know about it.
I mean,
That's why people.
this interaction is disastrous.
Okay, let's move on then. I haven't got anywhere there, and I apologise to listeners if you feel it's disastrous. But when you find out what's going on, you'll say, good on Nick for trying. And that's what we want to do. Wellington Water.
Yes.
It's one of the most serious issues that we've had in the last 10 years, 15 years, I think of, in the city in terms of what's going on. Wellington's Water's Chief Executive, Tonya Haskell, has resigned after a $51 million budget blunder. The report looking into the problem has found issues with culture and accountability within the organisation. Firstly, did you have confidence in Tonya? Because I did, and I put my hand up and say I did have confidence in her.
Yeah, I said that from the beginning as well, because actually, look, she inherited a lot of these problems, and she was actually quite collaborative. I got on very well with her, so this is a person at the end of the day that's publicly lost their role. Do
you have, as Mayor of Wellington, do you have any confidence whatsoever in Wellington Water as it stands right now?
As it stands right now, I think there are significant problems that if we don't fix, they'll lose the confidence of Wellington.
They've lost the confidence of Wellington already, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I think they've lost the confidence
Yes,
of you too.
and they know that. They know that.
Was Tonya pushed?
I
You saw the report.
I saw the report, and yes, it showed significant problems with Wellington Water that were not a surprise to Wellington City Council because we had commissioned our own report and had been raising these issues for some time. It was obvious that some action needed to be taken. The board was quite clear about that, and some action was.
Does the organisation Wellington Water, we're talking about with Wellington Mayor Tory Whanau, does the Wellington Water need more than just the chief executive leaving? Is it a problem that starts at the top and goes all the way down? Is it more major than just her?
We'll have to see. That's not for me to say.
This is an organisation, can I just interrupt you there slightly? This is an organisation that comes cap in hand to you all the time for multi-million dollars worth of money, cost us as ratepayers huge amount of money. Surely you'd have a good idea of what the organisation's like.
Yes, and look, I think the CE stepping down is quite a significant piece of action. I think the board also needs to take a look at itself and how they help manage Wellington Water.
Would you get rid of the board?
No. I think that's quite extreme, but I think they need to take some responsibility.
What about Nick Leggett as chair? Does he need to take some responsibility?
Not for me to say. Well, he has taken responsibility, and they'll do a report back to the Water Committee and council soon about what the next actions will be. They've acknowledged that urgent action is needed to change the culture and to create more accountability for our ratepayers. They've promised to do that. And at the same time, we're working on water reform with the regional group.
Once again, a yes or no answer. If or when water done well is brought in, or done better is brought in, is Wellington Water the organisation to be entrusted to spend the borrowed money smartly?
Well, no, and that's why we're moving to a CCO model. But in saying that, look, Wellington Water have had a lot of flack over the recent while, and the report shows that was justified. But that's not to say that there isn't a lot of amazing staff within that organisation, especially those on the ground who are fixing the pipes. They'll likely get transferred over to the new entity, which is great because they actually are doing a great job.
We have Wellington Mayor Tory Whanau. I'm just making sure I turn the right microphone on. We've got Mitch in here filming it, so it will all be on YouTube or on our Facebook page later this afternoon, iHeartRadio this afternoon, or when we get a chance to put it on. Charlie, good morning. Nice to see you calling up. You've got a question for Wellington Mayor Tory Whanau.
Yeah, hi Tory, how you doing?
Hey, good, how are you?
Not bad, thank you. My question is about political affiliations, Tory, and my question to you is what place do you think political affiliations should have in council, and probably more importantly to Wellingtonians right now, what place do you think it has right now in Wellington City Council?
Yeah, so there are two areas I'd like to discuss with this. In one sense, I've found it's quite useful for party-aligned candidates to come through. They're trained, they've been vetted, and they have really great values. On the other hand, you do have some who perhaps you sign an oath to put Wellington first. When it comes to decision making, that is what you should do. Some don't do that, and so it's quite tricky.
Well, they sign the oath and don't adhere to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's tricky though.
So
that's why I think they should do what I did. So I'm party aligned, but I'm still an independent. So I can still push Green Party policy and kaupapa, but I'm not going to get in trouble if I don't.
Don't start me on that, because every time you come in, you're a different thing.
No, I'm not. I've always said I'm a Green member.
Right. Okay.
You just don't. You
keep telling me I don't listen. I do listen.
You don't understand how it works.
Well, don't have a crack at me because I'm a slow learner. I mean, that's easy. That's
don't
easy.
Pull that card. Don't victimise yourself.
Don't start that. But you do change your chop and change.
I do. No, I don't. I haven't.
You said when we first met, you said I'm an independent. I've had my time with the Greens, but now I'm an independent. I'm Tory Whanau, and I stand for myself. Went in and got the position as mayor based on that. Now you're a member of the,
No, I was a Green member at that time.
You resigned. You didn't renew your membership.
No, I didn't renew my membership in the March, like a few months later.
All right. Okay. Wellington got some bad rap over the weekend. An interesting story over the weekend. Kiwi Bank gave every region in the country a score out of 10 for how their economy is doing. Wellington got a 2 out of 10. And it follows multiple hospitality closures, job losses and a grim All Black test on the weekend. With a sea of empty yellow seats, the worst attendance of an All Black game in decades. Could be forever. How tough is it right now to be a Wellingtonian?
Yeah, it's pretty tough, especially for those who have lost their jobs through the public service cuts. And there have been a lot, several thousand. And of course there's not like an opening of jobs for them to go to. We've also had the media sector lose their jobs as well. So it's tough times. And not unique to Wellington.
Why, if we are in those tough times, I'm not actually debating that. Why is the council not doing more to support businesses and people in Wellington? Why is it not out there saying, we're going to get us all through this?
We are.
We're not.
No, we do that, but people like yourself, again, like to change the narrative and jump to the negative. And
I want to be honest. I don't want to change the narrative at all. I want to be honest, and I know through business connections that I have that it's very tough to get anything through council at the moment. They're making you jump through hoops. Now, I've been in the licensing industry for 45 years. It's tougher now by 10 or 15 times than it was 10 years ago to get a license in this city.
Well, I need people to raise that as an issue with me.
Okay. But I'm saying it is. We know that it's tough out there. Yeah. We need the council to be actually on our
100%.
side.
I didn't realise it was that bad. I thought it had improved over the last year. Clearly it hasn't. I'm very keen to raise that. Because
I think also that there's a lot of people out there saying that, that voted for you based on the fact that you were going to get things going.
Yeah.
And they're struggling.
Yeah.
Developers are struggling to get things through council. Yep. Businesses struggling to get through.
Well, the district plan will help with the consenting process and make things go a lot faster. So I'm looking forward to that, pass that through. This particular business one, I'll raise. I didn't realise it was such a big problem. I'm meeting with my business advisory group in 2 weeks' time to talk about, especially when the Golden Mile is happening, what sort of grant system or relief can we provide to businesses during construction?
I'll tell you when we come back about my personal experience with that group, which
Yep.
was positive.
Yep.
Which was positive. I will put it out there.
Okay.
They came round and they presented what they were going to do to my family, not to me, but it was positive.
Okay.
Wellington Mornings with Mayor Tory Whanau. Susan, good morning. You've got a question for Mayor Tory Whanau?
Yes, I have, and it's a really big question. I'll be quick. The motorised scooters on our footpaths, they are just so dangerous, you can't hear them coming. I've nearly been collected a few times, and one bike has already collected me by being on the footpath too. Around Tiaro area, Victoria Street, well, they go down everywhere, but it is very, very scary.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks. I'll get Mayor Tory Whanau to reply to that.
Yep. So I would love for scooters to be allowed in cycle lanes. Technically, they're not at the moment. It requires a legislative change. Otherwise, that's why kind of 30-kilometre speed zones are quite good across the city, because then a scooter rider like myself will just go on the road. But until they're allowed in cycle lanes, it's quite scary for some to do it on the road.
I didn't know. I didn't know that those scooters weren't allowed on cycleways. I mean, that's something I learned.
I learned that a couple of months ago because I was disappointed. Yeah.
Okay. Nicole, you have a question for Tory Whanau?
Yeah, it is about the cycle lanes. I mean, that sort of beggars belief considering how long we've had cycle lanes starting to sprawl through Wellington. But the proliferation of them, if Gary Moller, who's a New Zealand cyclist, has been cycling for decades, he published a really good article last week, and he just said he just thinks they're a disaster for Wellington, that we're prioritising cycling over commerce and the movement of traffic, and these inline bus stops now that stop in the middle of the road, so it stops any traffic getting past, whether you're a car or another bus.
Nicole, sorry, I'm running out of time. Can you just ask your question, please? Sorry, I'm not being rude. I just need to get to a time break.
It's like, what's the justification for these cycle lanes when prioritising them over primary traffic, and also at the expense of businesses?
So we're not actually prioritising them over roads. We're just adding them to roads to ensure that no matter where you go, you have the option to walk, cycle, bus or drive. There are still lots of roads everywhere, but we want to give everyone the ability to be able to safe cycle across the city. And that's what people are doing. So cycleways are the way of the future, but you'll still get your roads. You'll still get your places where you can drive your car.
Just a quick one, thanks, Tory. I got a text here. I went to an Island Bay new cafe last night, no alcohol. They've been waiting over 4 months to get approval. The council should be supporting anyone brave enough to open a new business, but you've already knew that and you're onto it. Tory, thank you for coming in. Appreciate your time as always. I know it's not the greatest hour in your month, but I think that it's great that you do show up and do answer the questions the best to your ability. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate the fact that you come on the show.
Thank you, Nick. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, you
Even
too.
if we have a tiff, it's fine.
It's fine. It's all right. It's not personal.
No.
It's not personal. You've got a job to do and I've got a job
That's right.
to do.
It's all good.
One of us has got better ratings than the other one. That's a low blow to finish the show. I apologise.
Maybe on your show.
I apologise.
But if we,
I apologise for that was a low blow. It just came out at the wrong time. I apologise.
Sure it did.
I do apologise. That was terrible. 7 minutes to 11.